I was about to give you like this massive intro, and then boom, there's one of my favorite people in the entire world. What's going on, Tori Franco?
How are you, Blonsky?
I'm good. Look at you. You're all set up. You have your
I know.
you're a professional.
I try, like I love technology shit, so it's like anything that I can get my hands on, I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying?
I have a brand new microphone that my parents bought me for my podcast, and it's still sitting in the box because I don't know how to work it.
I was just about to tell you if you need I used to record from home, so I know how to set everything up, and like if you ever need help, I'm right here.
Well,
I
I
got you.
just may send you a plane ticket because I got to turn my closet into a sound booth. So,
Oh, my nipples just got hard.
oh, I mean, hey, if that's what does it for you, then I'm glad I could be of service.
You look ravishing today, by the way.
Oh, you are the sweetest. You look amazing as always.
Thank you. I barely took a shower today, but thank you.
I feel you. I was like, well, I got to do my hair. I got to look good for the Franco. Um,
I love you.
I love you too. I needed to see your face today. I always need to see your face. I see it every day on TikTok, which just brings me so much joy. Like, I can't tell you how many times, because, we're both East Coast kids, Long Islanders.
Ow.
I moved out here in December, and I've had a rough go at it. It hasn't been the smoothest. And every day when I go on TikTok, you're always on my For You page, and I'm like, thank you, God. And because it's just instant smile. Like, I'm just
Aw,
happy. You just bring
thank
me
you.
so much joy. But you also talk about the realest shit ever. And that's why I love you.
I love you, man. You make me smile too. Just you singing and like being yourself too. Like don't fucking underestimate your impact either, homie.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. I just, we're just ourselves, that's the thing. It's like people, for me, I think people always expect Tracy, the character that I played, and that's great. But
Yeah.
as I've really, like, after 30, I was like, no, no, no. Like, my 20s, I definitely played into that, like, I'm just going to make everybody happy because that's what they want. They want Tracy. And then I'm like, you know what? After I hit 30, I was like, guess what? I'm not Tracy. I'm gay. I'm this. I'm like, I'm like, there's a million other things about me, folks, that you don't even know. So I think I have to say, like, just seeing your confidence on TikTok, being who you are, and being proud of who you are, definitely sparked and ignited a little something in me to just be like, woo, here I am, world.
Woohoo! I'm a gay unicorn. Woohoo!
Exactly.
I don't, you know what it is? Like, if you ever met my mother was the type of person growing up that like didn't have a filter to the point that she would like fucking sting with her. Can I curse, by the way?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Of
All
course.
right. She would like sting with her words. You'd be like, "Ma, do I look fat?" And she'd be like, yeah, you kind of do." you know? So like I just grew up with no filter. Like this is who it is, you know? You
I feel that. I call my father No Filter Carl, because the man knows no filter. Like, anytime I bring anybody home that's I'm possibly dating, I'm like, oh shit. Oh,
Fuck.
okay. I'm like, I'm
Do
not
you have
worried
to
about mom. I'm just, and it's not like that dad says bad things. He just has like no filter. Like,
Yep. Do you have to warn him? Like don't say anything embarrassing, pops.
um no, because he's not going to remember anyway. Like, he's not going to go by my guidelines. He's going to be like, hey, you're the kid. I'm taking time out of my day to meet somebody that you like. Like, we're going to play it my way. No, he's actually the sweetest man in the entire world. And I think that's what's been one of the hardest things about being in this industry is seeing the effect that it's had on my family.
Feel you. Yeah. Well,
Because
when you say hard, is it like that people don't see that you're just a fucking human being like everybody else?
yeah, I
Like
think
talk like you and I are friends, so I feel like you've alluded to this in private that like I feel like you feel like there's this expectation because people see you as Tracy, but you're Nikki. And so like if shit happens in real life, they're like, "Oh, she's not this perfect," like is that what it is for you?
yeah, I felt after Hairspray, like I felt like I had to live up to these expectations. I mean, I always tell a story of when this woman saw me in an airport and she was like, "Are you okay?" I was literally going through security and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "Well, because you're just like, you're not." She's doing this. She's like moving her hands and smiling. I said, "Because I'm not dancing and singing." I said, "Ma'am, I'm so sorry, but we're going through security at the airport. Like, I hate to break it to you, but I don't sing and dance every day. I also don't, ride a garbage truck to school in the morning. Like, I don't go to school anymore. Like I hate to break it to them. But it was these expectations of people would see me and they would be, oh, Hairspray's brought me so much joy, or I found so much strength in your character. And while I love that and that means the world to me, I also just want people to know that I'm a human and I struggle
Yeah.
with certain things. And you know, as much joy and positivity and love that I try and put out there every day, like it would be nice once in a while to get it back. And I thank you because you
Aw.
always find a way to make me smile and give it back to me. Like I can honestly say you're one of the friends that always replenishes my joy tank that I need, you
You know
know?
what it is? Cause I feel it from you, like, I'm an empath, and then, like, sometimes you'll text me or I'll see a video, and I'll be like, "Oh, she needs that upliftment," like, or whatever, encouragement, whatever the fuck the word is, and, like, I fucking love you, and I think you need to be told more by people, whether in your life or outside of your life, like, "Hey, you're a fucking rock star, dude. Like, own that shit." I just feel it. I feel it from you. That's
Thank you. I mean, I've been, it's interesting. I've almost been made to feel a little guilty after Hairspray. Like, I felt a little bit of guilt because I was like, it was such a massive thing. And like, I lost like a lot of my friends growing up that I went to high school with. Like, I did the movie, and then they were like, they were theater kids.
why?
They were theater kids. I don't know if it was a jealousy thing. I don't know what it was, but I went off to make the movie, and then after I made the movie, I came home, and they were all in college, but like they just chose not to stay in touch. And so very early on in my career, I learned that like friendships are going to come and go in my life and people are going to come and go, but every once in a while you meet a real one who knows, you know, your soul and sees what you're doing and the good that you're doing. And I don't know, the minute this connection happened, I was like, she's got a good soul. She can
Oh,
see
thank
my soul.
you.
And the fact that like when I need to be uplifted, because I don't, I'm very bad at saying I need a little
Hey,
support or I need a little love right now. I'm
yeah.
horrible at that because I'm so used to being the person like come to me like I'll hug you, I'll love you, I'll give you all the support. I'm used to being that person for other people
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because of the character, but also because of the person that I am. So it's like I feel like those lines have gotten blurred over the years, like Tracy and then Nikki. And so
Mhm.
I've tried to be that super strong person. And just recently, and I definitely say coming out has helped me a ton because I'm just like, guess what? No, I'm not Nikki. And I'm allowed to be sad and I'm allowed to have emotions. And to expect somebody to walk around just happy 24/7, it's not realistic.
No, no, it's not, and I think and I mean, I feel like you and I, right, like, I hate to say it like this, like, but you know, we're out there on the interwebs and the public, whatever the fuck you want to say. But it's two different sides of the coin. Like for me, TikTok is like reality, you know, like this is like, and I feel like for you being in movies and show business, they're two totally different animals. And when you're in show business, I feel like even when you have like publicists that they don't want you to show 100% of yourself because it might not be good publicity, or you know what I mean? So I feel like that might probably be why you're not that type of person to ask for it, because it's like maybe you're used to not being able to. I don't know. You could probably say it better than I could.
No, absolutely. I very early on in my career, I was a yeser. Yes, yes, sure, whatever you need, whatever you need. I would yes people to death. Whatever you need, I'll be there. And I still very am much that way, but I noticed, like, I was recently just doing a project and I actually stood up for myself for the first time in my entire career.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been at this crazy game for almost 15 years now, and it took me 15 years to say no. I'm not going to wear underwear. No. I'm like, oh, in the scene that we were filming, like,
Oh, I was gonna say you go commando a lot.
I
Let's talk
mean,
about that.
look, the quarantine, look, not gonna lie, I've gone commando. All right, I've gone commando, braless. I'm like, who's seeing me? Nobody's seeing me. But I actually, on this shoot, I was like, I'm comfortable. I'll do a bathing suit. That's the best I can do for you, because even though I am a confident woman, I'm a plus size woman. We all know this. I still have insecurities. We all have insecurities. So it's like I wasn't going to be pushed into something that I was going to regret later.
Right.
And so
And
I
then
finally stood up for myself, and it did a world of wonders. But you were right. I was always pleasing publicists or pleasing teams. And at the end of the day, I'd go home and I'm like, guess what? They're not laying over there next to me while I'm like, I wish I didn't do that.
right. Yeah. Is that what like took you so long to come out, or was that just your own thing? Like you had to figure it out on your own.
That was my own thing. That was really me. That is something that I took time with for myself. Like I was like, look, this is one of the most important parts of yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah.
talent. I see, the thing is, Tori, after Hairspray came out, like I was, encouraging people, be who you are, love who you are. At that point, I'll tell you my dating history. In high school, I didn't date. I was that girl that was like, I'm in all the high school shows and like,
I don't have time.
I don't have time. I'm focusing on my career. I was playing softball. I mean, if that didn't give it away.
Oh, you gay.
Right. 9 years of competitive softball, if that didn't give it away. And I was the catcher, no less. So I mean,
Oh, you gay.
I'm gay. So, but it didn't give it away. But I was like, no, I'm focusing on school and all of this. And then of course, you know, everything happened the way it happened. Senior year of high school, I got Hairspray and then went and did it. And I was still on that, like, focused on having a career and all of that stuff. And I met a sweet guy on the set of Hairspray. He was my first kiss, and like he's still one of my best friends. But I dated guys in my early 20s and I was like, yeah, no, like it and by the time I hit, like, I'd say like 23, I was like, this is definitely no, no, no. I like women, but I also didn't know how to go about it.
Mm.
And I didn't know how to, because of my name. Like I was like, I can't just put like a profile up on Tinder. Like, I mean, eventually I did. And then
You did? You were on Tinder?
oh, I'm on the Tinder. People will message me and they're like, I'm being catfished, right? And I'm like, no.
Nope.
I'm like,
Nope.
no, I'm real. I'm a human. actors like to have relationships and, you know, be
Sex.
intimate too. Exact sex. We like sex too.
We like to fuck too.
Exactly. It's like, you know, I don't know if it was like the whole Tracy Turnblad thing, but I was like, guess what? I'm a full grown woman now. I'm an adult. That was a character on me. And so I think it was, I had, you know, had a few relationships, and then it was my last relationship that I was like, after that, I was like, I have to come out. I have to come out.
You couldn't hold it in anymore.
I couldn't hold it in anymore. It was something after I told my family, and which was so wild because I've lived such a public life.
Right.
You know, I've lived such a public life with my career and everything. And then I was like, but there was this big thing that I was holding on to. And it wasn't that I was scared to come out or that I was scared of people's reactions. I was just, I wanted to do it when I was ready because I feel like it's such a personal journey.
Yeah. I feel like that was like the one thing you probably were like, this is what I am in control of. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have control over this shit, you know? And your coming out video was fucking fire, I gotta say.
Thank
You
you.
did it on TikTok, right?
Of course. Yeah. Well, you know, the TikTok. I did it on TikTok. It was something that, you know, I'm a lighthearted person and I like to have fun and sing and dance as much as possible. That's just me. Like I'll literally be doing the dishes and like I'll be listening to like Whitney Houston. I want to dance with somebody. Like that's just me. Um,
Yeah.
but I knew that my coming out video, like my publicist and I had talked about it, and I was like, I don't want to do an article. Everybody does articles, the cover of People. I'm gay. Congratulations. Like, you know, who buys magazines anymore anyway? Hardly anybody. And I'm like,
Right. Nobody reads.
who reads? No, but read, kids. Seriously, though, it's important. But if you're listening to this podcast and you've heard all the curse words, then I mean, read, don't read, curse, don't
Oops.
curse. Who are we to tell you what to do now?
Right, right.
But yeah, I mean, for me, she said to me, she was like, how about we do like a TikTok? Have you ever heard of the song I'm Coming Out to Diana by Diana Ross? And I was like, have I ever
Girl.
heard it? I was like, my mother raised me on Diana Ross, The Supremes. I've been singing Stop in the Name of Love. That was the first song I ever sang in the history of my life.
That's a good fucking song.
Yeah.
It's a really
One of
good
my
song.
favorites. So we made the video and we put it out there and then we waited. And a lot of people were like, this is a joke. This is fake. She's not gay. And I was like, how could you possibly think that I would joke about something like this?
Yeah, like who does that?
Who would fake that? Like, I'm like, you know.
I mean, if I could be straight, I would be straight.
You think so? Yeah.
Like if I like people are like, oh, you know, those people that are like, oh, it's a choice and this and that. And like I'm like, why would I choose to like be looked down upon like that, you know, or like to not be fully accepted? Why would I choose to fall in love with a girl who can't love me back because she's too afraid to accept her sexuality? Why would I choose that? Wouldn't I just rather be straight and normal, or like what society deems normal? Like that would just be the easier route, I feel. I
I
don't get me wrong, I love vagina, but but like
I understand where you're coming from, but I think it's going to take the right girl that's going to love you, not be afraid or ashamed of who she is. And
right,
it's just going to be like, Tori's my world. Tori's
right.
exactly, you know what I mean? And I think from like, just personally speaking, like when I dated men, like the connection just what like it wasn't as deep as when I was in a
Mhm.
relationship with women. And I, you know, and now that I've had both sides of the coin, I definitely I'm like, you know what, I'm absolutely gay, but it's also because but it's also that connection, I
Yes.
crave that connection, and it's an intense connection. And when, unfortunately, when you break up, when you lose it, it sucks. Um, but I always say, like, my last relationship, it was the greatest love of my life. It was also the greatest loss of my life, losing her, but
Yup.
it showed me that I'm capable of being loved just as Nikki. Like, she didn't care that I was Nikki Blonsky. She could give two shits. And that's
Right.
what made me so happy. So, it's like it's not easy, being a queer person in today's world, but I think the reward is so much greater when you get that true love. So we have to
You're
believe,
right.
Tor, that it's out there for us.
Oh, I do. I definitely do. Like, especially me, I'm like, there's no way there's not a person out there for me. And you're right. When it comes to females, even like straight females who kind of teeter totter and
Yeah.
whatever, they'll say it. Like the connection that you have, that two females have, it's nothing like an emotional connection with a guy. You like learn things about yourself that you never it's just ridiculous.
That's a major thing. You learn so much about yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I learned things that, because I was always afraid to, like, speak up in my relationship with guys, like, I need this, or I would like this, or I and now I don't know if it's getting older in my older years, but I'm not afraid to speak up anymore. I'm like, no, if I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to put my time, my energy, my love, my this, my that, like, for me, I'm a very simple person when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just want to be there, make you feel good, make you a home cooked dinner. Like, these are my acts of, like, love and service. And it's like, you know, it's interesting to see everybody else's different
Yeah.
acts, and what they want and what they need, because sometimes it aligns with yours and sometimes it doesn't.
Do you know your love language?
I'm definitely quality time.
Mm,
Definitely quality time. I could give a shit if you give me a gift ever.
yep.
Like, I don't need gifts. Um, but I do like words of affirmation.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I like, if you love me, tell me.
yeah.
Don't
I
sit there and hold it in.
I'm a Cancer, so I need words of affirmation and physical touch. Like when we are in the same room, we can see each other twice, 3 times a week. We don't have to see each other every day. But when we are in the same room, I want to make out. I want to fucking hug you. I want to cuddle. Like,
I'm the same way. I'm
yeah.
a Scorpio, and it's like, people are always like, "Oh, geez, Scorpios, bye." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 don't run just yet." I'm like, you know, I'm like, "Look, they say we're passionate and driven, and I am when it comes to, my career." It's like, but that also applies to the bedroom, so it could work out really well for you.
Right. I dated a Scorpio. My mother's a Scorpio. I didn't date my mother though, thank God. Um but I dated one and it was intense. Yeah, it was I had no complaints there. Y'all aim to please.
We do. I will say, on behalf of me, I'm very much a people pleaser, not just in the bedroom, but, like, in life. Life's tough enough, you know?
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
life is tough enough. It's difficult enough, especially right now with all of this pandemic and all of this going on. It's just like, just try and make somebody's day a little bit easier. And if
Yeah.
and if you're dating somebody, and you can make
Yeah.
the day a little bit easier in that way too, hey,
That's
bang, bang, bang.
bow chicka wow wow. I mean, like, that's how I am too, like, if I know I had a girl I said this on my podcast too, but I had a girl that I was dating that I really enjoyed a lot, and she was complaining about, like, period cramps, and my first instinct was, I'm gonna go to CVS, get all of her favorite snacks and her favorite chocolates, get her, um, the the heating pads for the periods, like that
Oh
help with the,
yeah, I'm sitting on a heating pad right
are
now.
you?
Old
See?
lady me. Yeah.
And I made a whole like bag, put like little post-it notes like, "Oh, this is for your headaches. This is for this." And I brought it to her job. Literally, didn't even see her, just dropped it off, you know what I mean? And like that's that's how I am in relationships, you know? Like I want to make you feel special and wanted, you know what I mean? I think
I'm the same way. It goes a long way, just to know that people are thinking of you, the people that you care about are thinking about you. I mean, I'm
yeah.
very much in the same way, like, you know, in past relationships when the person has been feeling good, I'm just like, I just Uber eats them their favorite meal or whatever. Like
Right.
just the little things. It's always for me been the little things in life
Yeah.
because I feel like, and I was explaining this to somebody the other day. They were like, why would an actor choose to date just a regular person? And I
What?
said, well, because actors are just regular people with weird jobs. I was like, but second of all, I was like, it's because we were talking about money. And I said, first of all, money is completely irrelevant. Like in
Mm,
Hollywood, money comes, money goes. Like you can make it fast, you can lose it fast. I said,
mhm.
it's about the connection that you have with the person and the quality of the person that you're choosing to be with. I mean, I've never dated. I went on one date with an actor once and I was like, I mean, it was a man, so definitely two no's, two strikes against him. But it just, I'm a regular person at heart. And I think that comes from the Long Island.
Yeah. It
You know what I mean?
I was just thinking that. I feel like Long Island has a way of, it's hoity-toity at times and this and that, but long it's a little bubble, I feel like. And so it has a way of humbling you because you're always gonna know somebody that knows somebody else that grew up on the same fucking block as your uncle Rupert or something. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, and so it humbles you because we're literally stranded on this fucking island. Well, not you anymore, but
But honestly, I can't tell you how much I miss it.
you do.
I miss it terribly. I mean, LA is great. I'm not here to bash LA. LA is great. It's the land of dreams. I've been coming here on and off my entire career. I've lived here before. Um, but Long Island is always home. The
Yeah.
minute that plane lands at JFK or LaGuardia, I'm like, oh, I'm home. I'm
It's a
home.
breath of fresh
It
air, yeah.
literally, I take the deepest breath and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see my mom, I'm gonna see my dog, I'm gonna go to my messy room that I didn't clean up before I left. Like it's just like those little comfort things for me because it's like being out here, nothing's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like, you're Ubering to go to the supermarket or this or that. And it's because I don't drive out here because nobody wants that. I'm 4'10". I can't see over the steering wheel. So just like
You're
let's
4'10"?
I'm 4'10". Yeah. I can't tell you. The other day I was at a shoot and the guy was like, ma'am, I'm gonna have to put you on some Apple boxes, which are these like huge wooden boxes, just so he could get
Stop.
me in the frame. Yeah.
You're fucking short.
Oh yeah.
How okay, how tall do you think I am? I
I would
think you know.
Are you 5'7"?
Oh my god, it's so funny that people think I have this, like, people think I'm so tall. I'm 5 foot, 5 flat.
Are you really? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we almost see eye to eye. Look at
Yeah,
that.
I'm a tiny bitch, but everybody's like, "You just put out this, like, big dick energy."
Well, it's so true because I'll tell you, people will come up to me and they'll be like, no way. And I'm like, what? And they're like, you just seem so much bigger on screen. I'm like, dude, that was a 60-foot screen. Like, I mean, it's a trip. It always trips people out when they think that we're taller, but we're not. But
Yeah,
you're right. It is that energy that we put out that confident that, I'm in
Yeah.
control.
Yeah. When you have a big personality, people think that you're like physically, I guess, bigger. When I meet people and people recognize me in person, literally their first reaction is always like, "Oh my God, you're so tiny." Thanks, guys. Like, thanks. I know.
Do
I've
you
been,
notice that people ask to take pictures with you on the island or like in the city or wherever you go?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
How do you
weird to
feel
me.
about that? Yeah.
I love it. Like, because I love meeting new people and stuff like that. Um, but it's just not something I'm used to, you know? Like, people come up to me and they're like, they don't even say, like, I'm sure you get, like, "Nikki Blonsky? Is that you?" Like, they use your whole full name. Is that
Sometimes.
Oh,
And then
okay.
occasionally people would be like, Tracy? And
Stop.
I'm like, oh boy, this is the part where I have to explain it's two different people. I don't and then that's sometimes I say to myself, maybe I should just let them call me Tracy because it'll go by faster. Not that I don't enjoy it, but it's just like the whole explaining things. But
Right, right.
yeah, when people say my full name, yeah, it definitely does. It's a little jarring because I'm like, oh, like you actually looked at you know,
The
the
credits.
DVD cover and the credits and you read it. Oh, okay. Like, um, but it's an interesting thing because
Yeah,
it's like we're just people and they want
yeah.
to take a picture with us. And
It's always in the weirdest places too, like, places I never expect. But they come up to me and they just say my first name, and now I have a past of, like, going out and partying and getting drunk and meeting every single person that came into my path, and, like, so when people say Tori, they're just like, "Tori?" I'm like, "Hey, like, how do you know me?" Like, I have to ask because that you could know me from a drunken night in a club, or you could know me from, and, like, every single time they're like, "Are you like, they think I'm stupid. They're like, "Are you okay? Well, how do you think I know you?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, we have
I
to
just
get
want to
through
make
that.
sure it's the correct,
Right.
vehicle of how you know me.
Right, like, we coulda made out, or you could know me from TikTok. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Right. I get it.
it's
Kind
weird, though.
of. Because it was like I wish in my 20s, like I was talking to somebody the other day, I was like, we were talking about dating and I was just like, God, I wish I would have had a little more fun in my 20s.
Mm.
Like I was so Tori, I was so focused on my career, which was great, but I was so scared of what, would be put in the media or if a paparazzi was there or whatever. And it was just like I kind of just lived in my bubble on the island for I'd say 4 or 5 years and just didn't date. Just like
Did you go out at all?
I honestly, the only time I would go to, I hardly went out on the island. I don't think I've ever been to like a gay bar on Long Island. Are there? There are gay bars on Long Island.
Back in my day, there were, yeah.
I never. I mean, I would go maybe once a month to like an event. Like
Mm.
that's when I would go out. Like if it was like event, like at a red carpet, a movie premiere, whatever. Or if my best friend and I have a best friend of 17 years. He's gay. He lives in Harlem with his husband, and he was like, he'll call me and he'll be like, "Hey, let's go out for drinks tonight." And so like I'll go take the Long Island Railroad, and
No.
I'll go out. But it's like the minute we walk into like a gay bar, if I don't have like a baseball cap on or whatever, or if I'm dressed like now and people kind of correlate the two, forget it. Him and
Yeah,
I are there for maybe like 10 minutes and then we got to go.
like a swarm of probably, like, gay men, right?
Yes. 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 If it was, I mean, look, if the ladies were lining up, I'd be like, hey, my best friend's name is Gino. I'd be like, hey, G, just give me
Give
another
me a second.
20 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. I'll give it right to you. No, but I understand that people, love the movie, whatever, but it's sometimes you just want to go out and have a drink with your friend and just like shoot the shit and talk about whatever and complain and cry, whatever.
And get wasted.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I just got a package from, I wish you were here, just got a package from Jägermeister.
Oh,
They just
Jaeger.
they just sent me their cold brew Jaeger.
Wait, cold brew like coffee?
Yes. But
Get the fuck out of here.
yeah, so my roommate and I did a shot and then we went night night.
Is it strong?
Yeah, it was strong. Like she woke up the next day. I was like, girl, did you sleep good? She's like, I slept so good.
What day is it?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even know. But yeah, so I'm always going, come and visit me, Tori.
I know I've never been to California before. I'm kind of scared. Like when I think of LA especially, not that I've heard bad things, but I've heard bad things. I'm sorry to anybody that lives in LA. But like you said, like Long Island, New York in general is just a very down to earth bunch of people. Yeah, there are people in Manhattan that are trying to make it and stuff like that, but it's not very like statusy. And I heard that LA is statusy, and I don't like that.
LA is very much, oh my gosh, I just met you. What can you do for me?
Mm-hmm. I
And
can't
I'm like,
stand
I'm
that.
not about that. And like, that's when I go, nice to meet you, and I
Fuck off.
go back to my apartment and make my mom's meatballs and chill out.
Yeah.
It's like I don't do any of the party scene in LA. It's not my thing. It never has been. Even at the height of like the hairspray thing, and we were being invited to like Hyde when Hyde was like the biggest club in LA. I was just like, I really just had no
Meh.
desire to go. Like, because I knew that people would be watching.
Yeah.
And I was very aware, even at 18, I was aware that whatever I did, or even if it looked like, even if I had, a glass in my hand and it was maybe just water, somebody would take a picture and be like, oh, Nikki Blonsky is 18 drinking vodka and high. That's
Right.
who I am. It's like I didn't need that and I didn't want that because that wasn't me.
Yeah.
But I think as I get older, I definitely have gotten I don't give a fuck attitude. And I'm like, if I want to go have a tequila sunrise on Melrose Avenue or what the fuck ever, like I'm gonna go do it because I'm 32 now. Like, let me grow up, people.
Yeah.
Let me
You're a
live.
grown up.
I'm a grown up
Now,
girl.
my question is it okay? So when I picture LA,
Mhm.
I picture like literally celebrities out in the wild. Like,
It
I know I'm
kind
so
of
fucking sheltered. Like, do you see a lot of like people?
depends on where you go. Like, you could be at the like, I remember one time I was checking into a hotel in Palm Springs and I was standing in between Sean Penn and Drew Barrymore.
Get the fuck out of here.
And I was like, this isn't happening. This isn't real life. And my mother's behind me and she's texting me while we're in line. She's like, you see who's in, because she was like two people behind me. She's like, you know who's in front of me and who's in front of you, right? I'm like, mom, stay calm.
Down, girl.
Yeah. And like, so if there have been moments where, yeah, you'll be out at the grocery store and you'll see people, and then there'll be moments where you don't. I mean, it really is
Hit or miss.
hit or miss for me. I go to the grocery store. I go there. I'm a horrible shopper. Like for clothes, grocery shopping, anything, I want to go in and get the out. Like
Right.
I don't even, I have a list on my phone, my little note section. I'm like, okay, I got my Febreze,
Beeline.
I got my Shout, I got my this, my that, I get it. I'm like, okay. And when I'm in the Uber on the way home, I'm like, oh, thank God. All right, I'm back to my safety zone, back to my
I feel you.
apartment.
Like your safe space.
Yeah, I'm a person, I realize as I get older, and I think that's why I miss the island so much, is because it has always been a safe place for me.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandparents, I grew up 5 minutes, not even 3 minutes down the road from them. And then we moved in to take care of my grandmother when she passed away, when she was getting older. And so that was my childhood home. I spent like 15 years of my life there. And I miss it. My
Yeah.
brother's engaged now. He
Oh,
lives with my parents, and I can't help but feel like sometimes I'm missing out on certain things that are going on back home. Especially when my mom says she made her chicken parm. And I'm like,
right.
and the first time she told me that when I moved out here, she was like, "So I just made chicken parm." And I looked at her, I said, "Karen, that's rude." And she goes, "What?" I said, You're a very rude woman." I said, "That is my favorite thing ever. And you made it. And I'm 3,000 miles away." But I think for me, it's just, as you and I could tell are both family orientated people, and
Yeah.
our families are everything. I see your amazing sister and her wife and their beautiful children.
She's
I mean,
probably listening, like literally creaming her pants that you're saying
well,
that. But anyway,
I love her. I love you. I love you. I love you all. I love the whole Franco bunch. And
thank you.
it's just, family is so incredibly important. So while I'm out here, I miss the simple things. I miss being able to go give my
Mhm.
mom a hug you know, when
I
I'm
feel like out there, it's like hard to stay grounded, really, because it feels like the energy I get from things I've heard and just like me being an empath, I get a very like out there vibe. Not a bad vibe, but not very grounded.
not very grounded and everybody's trying to one up each other.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
Everybody's like trying to be more fabulous than the next and trying to just knock each other off each other's pedestals. And not everybody's like that, but I'm just like, you know what? I just do my own thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm here, like it's interesting to see the different personalities that you work with. I've worked with a bunch of different personalities over the years. Some people who, and you know what I've noticed, Tori, and I'll be so honest with you, the bigger the celebrity, the more humble and down to earth they are.
You know why that is probably? Well, I'm just making an assumption, but they had to put in work to fucking get there, you know? And that work is humbling. That's probably what it is, you know? And
That's
then
exactly right.
you got these people that aren't that big, but they want to be that big. So
Up
they
here, they're that big.
right, right.
And I say to myself, with those people, I feel bad for the moment when reality clicks in and they go, "Oh, shit. Like
Mhm.
that wasn't fully real," or like, you know what I mean? I or they're craving something real. They're craving their family. They're craving some type of real connection. Because it's like the internet, sure, you can connect with people, but it's like at the end of the day, if you want to talk about something, and that's why I always go back to my friendship with you. It's like you said, when I need. And it's like, and even when like I said, when I see your face, I just smile on TikTok. Like
Thank you.
we performers, like, yeah, we put a lot out, but I think these people are going to be sadly mistaken someday
Yeah.
when they realize that this isn't reality. Like fame can come like this and fame can go even quicker, my love.
Yup.
That's what I've learned. And I did an interview recently where they were like, "Do you have any advice for like, new actors breaking into the business?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's tough, but you got to be tougher." I was like, "But also remember that as quickly as fame comes, it can go away. So enjoy it." I said, "But also, you shouldn't be in this business to become famous.
Right. You got to be
In this
passionate.
business because you have a passion to perform, to sing, to talk to people, to hear stories, to engage with people. Shouldn't be in it because, oh, I want the VIP table at No,
Yeah,
that's
fuck
not what
that
it's
shit.
about."
That's why those people never make it to the top because you have to be humble and know. I feel like that humbleness is like the drive that keeps that person motivated to work as hard as they do, because when you lose that humbleness, you're like, I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to work any harder. Look at me, I'm big shit. And then that's when reality sets in and shows you that you ain't shit. You know what I mean? And I
It's like,
hate that.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, hairspray happened 14 years ago. I'm very thankful and blessed that people still love it and watch it. I said, but every day that I get up, I have to put in work to keep that going, to keep, everything moving forward, creating new projects, auditioning for everything. It's just like, you got to put in the work. It doesn't come easy. And I think that's been there's a lot of misconceptions in this town as well. Like if you have a famous last name or if you did a big movie, you're automatically a millionaire movie star and you're living the life. No, it's like so much work goes into it, and as is anything worth having. That's what I say.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
if anything, if you really want something, whether you want to be the quarterback of the football team or you want to whatever, you want to be a movie star, you got to put in the fucking work.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not going to come easy. Nothing comes easy in life.
No. And it's self-work too. Like, not only just put out the work, but you also have to work on yourself too. And like, there are so many fucking people out there, especially now with like TikTok and everything like that. And anybody's like, your average Joe is getting, look at me. Like, what do? I ain't do shit. You know what I mean? But like, people are given platforms now and they allow it to fucking get to their heads. And there's a double side to that. It's like you allow it to get to your head and gas you up to the point that you think that you deserve this fucking certain treatment. And then there's the other side of the coin where you allow it to get to your head when people fucking talk shit and don't see your humanity, and they feel like they can say whatever the fuck they want about you and make judgments based off of a 60-second video. It's like, it's not always all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. You're exactly spot on. It's not all it's cracked up to be. There's pros and cons to everything. I mean, in my comments, sure, your comments, I will tell you, you put out just such a positive light. Like every
Thank
time you
you.
smile, just you you engage with people and people really enjoy you. I look at you and I go, that is a beautiful, stunning, kind, generous human being.
Thank you.
And I mean this from my heart. I'm not just gassing you up, but I understand what you're saying when you have to believe like the comments like, "Oh yeah, you're amazing." But then there'll be those few comments where people will come and just, try
Yeah.
and, get you, hit you in the hoo-ha and, like try and knock you off your day. And I had that happen this morning right before our podcast. And I was just like, I just don't understand why bullies and why people just take the time. I don't know about you, but I don't got the time in my day
No.
to sit there and be like, oh, you look like that. First of all, I never
No.
would because our parents raised us better. But secondly, like just my grandmother always used to tell me, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Mhm.
And I've started to say that in interviews now when they've asked me about certain things. And I finally said to an interviewer, they asked me about a very, very uncomfortable situation that had nothing to do with me, had to do with somebody else that I had worked with. And I said to them, can I ask you a question? Would you want, if this was about your sister, would you want this question asked about your sister? I said, I ask you to ask questions that you would want your family to answer. Be
And
kind with your questions.
that's the best fucking response, I feel. Throw it back at them. Cuz again, that's somebody not seeing your humanity. Like thinking that you're just this fucking clown, or you're just there for entertainment purposes. Like you don't go home and take a shit and go to sleep and take, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not reality, you know? And people ask these fucking out of pocket questions as if they can. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know how you deal with it because, like, even the little notoriety that I have in my little bubble, people messaging people that I used to deal with and
Yeah.
like getting involved in business that they shouldn't get involved in. It's like, what are you doing right now? That's
Yeah.
a good way to handle it.
It's, it's just, I figured, I'm like, maybe I'll just flip it on them, flip
That's
it around,
smart.
see what else, like see how they would respond. And they were
Yeah.
like, oh, so I mean, but I get what you're saying. Also, dealing with people, when you have a little bit of notoriety or anything, when you're in your position, my position, it gets a little bit, you don't know who to trust.
Oh my, a little bit, a lot of it for me.
Yeah. And so you get it. I know I get hesitant to sometimes engage with people,
Yeah. Cause you
whether
don't
it be
know.
dating, whether it be friendship, because I'm like, because I've literally had people be like, oh, can you introduce me to da 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 da? And can you? And I'm like, and excuse me, like, I auditioned my ass off for 6 months to get what I got. Like, so I'm just gonna open the door to Sony for you, and you're just gonna walk right through. And oh,
Right.
nice meeting you. Get the fuck out of here! Like,
Right.
are you kidding me? Like, put in the work, because if I didn't put in the work and somebody just handed me hairspray, I I don't think I could have appreciated it as much as, like, when you put in those hours and grind and you work, and like you do with your podcast, like, you're just always like, and your merch, and you're out there and you're promoting and you're putting in the work. In the end, when those orders are made and those people listen to that podcast and tell you what it means to them, that's the greater scheme of things.
Yeah.
That's what matters more, you know, than if
Yeah.
somebody was just like, hey, Tori, here's a podcast, have fun, bye. Or
Yeah.
Nikki, here's a movie, bye. It's like, no, I want to work for it because I want to
Yeah.
know that I deserve what I'm getting.
Right, right. I don't wanna be handed anything, absolutely. Like, I have I'm friends with Rhea Demiri, her and I are good friends.
I've never seen her. No.
Yeah, right.
Are you kidding? She was like one of the first. Come on, after it came out, I was like, oh my, hello.
Honestly, she's not even my type, and when I saw her, I was like, "Fucking god damn it."
But
Now,
I'm like
how
so excited for her and her fiance's love story. Like, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, they definitely love each other for sure. But, like, people try to get me like, go through me to get to her.
Yeah.
And even with our friendship, like with my podcast, she'll say to me, like, "Dude, like, I'm really offended that you haven't had me on the podcast." And I say to her, I'm like, "I don't wanna have not that I don't wanna have you on the podcast, but I don't wanna ask because I know like, you get pulled in every fucking direction, and I just wanna be your friend." You know what I mean? Like, um, I don't want our friendship to be transactional at all. And she's like, "You're ridiculous." I'm like, "Well, it's just a code of honor for me. I'll have her eventually, because now I know she wants to do it. But it's like, you don't know who you can who's trying to get something out of you or who genuinely just wants to be your friend. You know what I mean?"
Yeah. And you also, I feel also, when I ask people to be on my podcast, I'm like, you know, I'm your friend. I want you on as my friend. I don't want you to think I'm using you for an episode. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like Rhea is your Zac Efron, like my Zac Efron. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
like we both, like, people, I can't tell you how many times people daily, daily.
Really?
Oh,
Still?
I'm not even, every interview I have done since Hairspray still ask me that. And I love him dearly. He's a great guy. I haven't spoken to him in many years. but it's just like, let me have my own identity for a second and let
Mhm.
him do his thing. And when we meet and collide, like it'll be great and awesome again. But like it's frustrating when people come to you and say, "Oh, we want you. Can you bring your friend along?" Or
Yeah.
or yeah, it's very unsettling because it's like, am I not enough?
Yeah, yeah.
Am I
People
not
people will comment and be like, "When are you and Rhea hanging out? We're gonna hang out when we wanna hang out, like, leave us alone." We're friends outside of TikTok. It has nothing to do with making videos. When we're ready to hang out and free, like, we enjoy each other's company, we'll fucking hang out. But it's like that, like, "Oh, Rhea," it's like and Rhea gets pissed because she's like, I'm my own person. Tori's her own person. Like, just let us live our lives. I'm sure Zach would be the same fucking way, you know?
Yeah, he's a cool dude. And but it's you learn, you live and you learn who's the real ones and who are
Mhm.
there for you and who are down for Tori, who's down for Nikki, who's going down on Tori, who's I'm kidding. Oh my god, I always have a stupid joke in there. But honestly, just like it's it's always a learning curve every day in this business and on TikTok and social media and life. It's just like
Yeah,
you learn every day. Sometimes it's hard lessons, but
yeah,
just gotta take them on the chin and keep it moving.
yeah. And one thing I've learned about, like, or I try to tell myself with, like, the bullies and the trolls is that if you feel like you have to like, I go on the internet and I see videos that I don't enjoy or, like, that
Sure.
piss me off. I never get that urge to comment something out of pocket towards somebody else for
Right.
no reason. Like, there's been stupid TikTok drama with, like, girls that provoked some of my friends, so I went on and, like, called them out, like, and yeah, I was a little bit of a catty bitch, you know what I mean, like, throwing digs, but it was provoked, right? I'll never go out of my way to try to put somebody down first. If
Yeah.
you come for me or one of my friends, I'm coming for blood. That's how I am. But
Right.
never first. Like, you know?
Agreed. It's like it's one thing to like I always say, you want to come for me, go knock yourself out. You come from my family or somebody I really care about, then yeah, sure, you'll get a rise out of me and we'll have a talk. But I understand what you're saying. Like, I never unprovoked. Like, it's like
Yeah.
when people provoke you, they know exactly what they're doing and they're doing it to get a rise
Yeah.
out of you and just to see, probably because they're a fan of your TikToks and they probably want to see if they can, oh, will Tori respond to me? You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
this weird, stupid game that they play with themselves. And sometimes we can't help when we're supporting the ones that we love, sticking up for them. But we have every right to do that because we're human beings and our friends deserve to be showed that we have their back and we care for them. And but because we have some type of name, we're automatically a bitch.
Yeah, you're demonized. Yeah.
Right. And it's not fair. It's like, no, we're just backing up our friends the way you back up your friends.
Right. That's exact and that happened to me today. I commented on a post of this girl who started a bunch of drama with one of my and she's a bigger creator, um, on TikTok. Have you ever heard of Perfectly Kelsey?
Possibly.
Well, it's her. They, like, dragged her name through the mud, like, defamed her, all of, like, defamation of character, like, put out all these lies, and she never defended herself. She was just like, "The truth will come out," you know?
Yeah.
So, the truth came out, the receipts were made. This one girl who orchestrated an entire, like, "Let's take this girl down" group posted a video that was posted on some, like it's like the TMZ of TikTok. Her name's Tea Sipper. And, I commented and I was like, "Oh, it's the unrelaxed shoulders for me." And I was like, "Oh, it's the hypocrisy for me." And somebody commented and was like, "It's the fact that you're making fun of her appearance for me." And I was like, "Bro, pick your poison." This girl tried to get her fired from her job for lies, and I'm over here talking about how she needs to relax her shoulders, because when your shoulders aren't relaxed, it shows that you're fucking being disingenuous and that you have something to hide. And I'm like, this is like, you wanna, it's like when you come to defend somebody else for something that somebody started, you're demonized. You're looked at as like the bully, you know what I mean? And it's like so stupid. It's so petty. Oh my god, it's so
Were
petty.
you Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure, anything.
Were you bullied as a kid growing up?
Very
Yeah.
bad,
Mm.
like physically and like verbally. So that shit I don't stand for. Like I will literally punch somebody in the face. Uh-huh. And when it's somebody that's helpless, a child, an older person, like, oh, it's 10 times worse.
That's
There's
my thing. When I see people being disrespectful to the elderly or to, like you said, a kid, or just being just, it's just like, just, you're gonna be that elderly person someday.
right.
Are you gonna want somebody to take that? Like, I'm that person, like, if there's one shopping cart left at Stop and Shop, when I used to go to shop and Stop and Shop and miss
Aw,
my island, I miss
memories
it's bad when you miss Stop and Shop, okay? I'm like, shit,
of all places
of
to me.
all places. I mean, like, it's the supermarkets out here, just, they're LA. I'm like, how can you not have Francesco Rinaldi? Like, what's going on? Why is
I gotta what's that place? Uncle Giuseppe. I gotta go to Uncle Giuseppe's.
exactly? I'm like, what? Oh, God. I'm like, and then, but all the kale you can imagine.
And tofu.
Yeah. My, like, can you really? Yeah. Apparently, I'm eating it. Not really. Um, so anyway, but it just, I forgot what I was talking about before I went on that kale binge. But oh, but I
Oh,
was saying, you're gonna be that person someday at the grocery cart. Like, I'm that person when I go to the store. If there's one cart left and I see an old elderly person going for, I'm gonna leave it for them.
yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
little things, like, because I'm gonna be that 70, hopefully, if I don't kick the bucket by then.
You will.
um, that hopefully I'll be that old person, trying to get a cart, and somebody younger will be like, hey, let's leave it for them.
Yeah.
It's just
Hopefully they have enough fucking, the next generation has enough brain to give it to the elderly. I don't know.
well, that's the thing. And, this next generation, you know, as I look at it this way,
Mm,
as generations coming up, they're most of the ones that are leaving the hate comments and the this and the that. And I say to myself, but then I look at kids like my brother, who's like 26. He's young, got a good head on his shoulders, all about family. So there are, in every generation, there's good, like with everything, there's good and there's bad.
yeah.
But what I always tell people is that it's never too late to change. If
No.
you grew up as a bad kid, if you grew up as a kid who pushed the envelope, or, whatever, like, you can make up for it by being a good adult. Like, it's never too late. A
Yep.
little bit of kindness goes a long fucking way.
And you know what I realized too? Um, Especially when it comes to bullies, like I learned a huge lesson in my life. I harbored a lot of anger for the bullying that I like went through. And there are still things that like trigger me and stuff. And the two main bullies, one was a girl, one was a guy. And in my life, I'm 31 years old and talking to people from the island or whatever, I found out that both of them uh, died from drug overdoses. And it it was and everybody around me was like, well, that's karma, the abuse that they put you through. And in my head, it was like, that's not karma. That's two people who never um worked on themselves and had their own pain, probably from their childhoods or their homes, that they had to deal with, and that the only way they felt they could deal with it, the aggression, was to take it out on somebody that they saw weaker. And I it made me like look at bullies in a different way. Like, not only do the people who are bullied need help, but the bullier probably needs more help than the bullied. You know what I mean? And
because everybody's going through something.
yeah,
Nobody's life is perfect. And even the bullies are struggling in their own way, some way. They could look like the most perfect quarterback, cheerleader, and meanwhile they're, God knows they're struggling through an eating disorder or a drug addiction or something that they can't get out of. So they take these feelings that they don't know what to do with, and they literally verbally throw up on other people to try and
yeah,
make themselves feel better.
yeah.
And it's wrong, but at the end of the day, as I've gotten older, I've said to myself, you know what? I remember the first time I was 8 years old. I was coming home from Catholic school. I went to St. Mary's in Manhasset. Yeah, I was in my little plaid jumper. And oh, yeah, I was 8 years old. And my grandma went to get me off the school bus. And I had tears pouring down my face. And my nan was the sweetest woman alive. Like, I never heard her say a curse in her life.
Aw.
The rest of the family were all like, fuck shit. Like, Nan was just like, super, super, very calm, mild mannered. And she saw me crying and she was like, what happened? What happened? She was from
Aw.
Boston. She's like, what happened? I said, Pablo called me fat. Sorry, Pablo. I guarantee you Pablo's not listening to this at all. God knows where Pablo is. But I said, Pablo called me fat. And this kid was like at least 7 years older than me. He knew exactly what he was
What he
doing.
was doing.
And I remember my grandmother looked at me and said, Nikki, Pablo called you that because he's not happy with himself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're happy. And he's jealous of that.
Yup.
When she put it in those simple terms, because I was young, I was 8, when she put it in those 8-year-old terms in my brain, the rest of my entire life made sense.
Yeah.
I
And
was
it
like,
does.
it does. I'm like, and now when people say mean things about me and I'm in my mid 30s, I'm like, guess what? Nan's words still ring true.
Yeah.
That those people are struggling. They're not happy with themselves. And they see people like you and I who are, maybe we're not 100% happy with ourselves, but we're working on ourselves to better ourselves. And I
And the
think
light. We both have the light.
we
And
do.
a lot of times people that don't possess that light or can't find it in themselves, they look at other people who have that light and they want to dim it, because they're like, well, why do you have that? Why do you possess that? How come you have access to it? They don't realize they have it too.
Right. Why are you confident? Why are you, I'm not, and it's like, I've noticed for me, I've been, a lot of my bullies were skinnier girls. And I noticed, I was like, wait a second, this was like high school years. And I was like, they totally just don't like me because I'm comfortable and confident in the skin that I'm in. And they're trying to shrink themselves to some, like, unfathomable, unreachable goal. Like, it's not healthy. They're literally, deteriorating their bodies just to try and fit into society's norm, which is
Yeah.
not the norm. And I was just, rocking out in my,
Loving you.
plus size jeans, having a good old time. Like, so I think it's people just, even when they seem the most confident or whatever, or they look like society's norms, those are the ones that are,
They say, I mean, it's so fucking cliche to say, but hurt people hurt people.
yeah,
Like when you're okay with yourself, even if you're hurt, like I'm not gonna sit here and say my life is completely perfect and I'm not going through my own shit and struggles, but when you're willing to do the work on yourself and you're willing to love yourself and you want to put in that work, you don't want anybody else to feel the hurt that you're feeling. You know what I mean? And that's where like I feel like genuine self-love comes. We think in this society that in order to love ourselves, we have to change the outer first and then we'll love ourselves. But it's actually the opposite. You have to go within first and then the outer changes. You know what I mean? Because part of like taking care of yourself is knowing that you deserve to take care of yourself and you deserve to love yourself. And that starts from inside. You know what I mean? We have it all ass backwards.
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely do have it ass backwards.
Mhm.
And I know it's funny. It's like in my line of work, I'll do photo shoots and they'll do my hair and makeup and I'll feel fabulous. But then I'm also like, all right, I'm at home in my pajamas the next day, the shoot's over, like no hair, no makeup, still me, folks. Like, like nothing's changed. Like, congratulations. Like, there was a little crap on my face yesterday and I looked a little bit better, but I'm still the same human inside. And I think that's what's so important to me. And people always ask me, like, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten from somebody you worked with? And I always say, it was from the person who played my mom. And he always told me, stay true to Nikki. Do not let this business change you.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how many times that has rung in my head over and over while I've been auditioning for this. And I'm like, this doesn't seem right or whatever, whatever. It's those little things of just staying true to who you are inside,
Yeah.
because all of this is going to change. We're all going to get
Yeah.
old. I was telling somebody yesterday, I said, for these new actors, new people coming into the business, there's always somebody younger, there's always somebody hotter, there's always somebody skinnier, and there's always I said, find something about yourself that stands out, that's unique,
Yup.
that's uniquely you. Because guess what? We're all going to get wrinkles, our boobs are going to sag, we're going to age. I would rather be known for the positive light I put out into the world, for the work I did, than for my boobs and my ass.
Yep.
Yep.
Same.
Because guess what? All women have boobs and ass. Like,
They do. Tell me more
tell you, well,
about
from what
boobs and
I've
ass.
experienced. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, I dealt with the same shit with the TikTok lesbians. Like when I first started like gaining a following on TikTok, and I came across all the other lesbians, one being Rhea. At first, it was like almost like an identity crisis. I was like, I gotta start working out. I gotta start like I can't compete with this. Look at her, like she's a fucking goddess, and like what do I have? And I remember I forget who I spoke to, but they said that exact thing. It's like that's what Rhea brings to the table is what Rhea brings to the table. And you have your, I think it was my therapist actually. You bring something else. And that's okay because that's what makes you, you, and her. And they're separate from one another. And like, but at first it was like that. It was like, I'm never gonna have a six pack. I'm never gonna, like I mean, my fade is on point, but other than that, like it's like I'm never gonna have abs like that. And I started like incessantly working out because I felt like I had to look a certain way. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it for me anyway. Why am I going to continue to do that? Now I'm like, this is me. This is who the fuck I am. I don't care.
You're fucking beautiful.
Thank you.
I'll tell you that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Rhea's adorable, but when I saw Tori Franco, I was like, so Rhea, we adore you, but in Blonsky land, I'm all about the Franco.
Aw, thank you. Thank you.
but it's true. It's just like, finding those things about yourself and make sure, like you said, doing it for you.
Mm-hmm.
We get one life, we get one spin around this crazy globe. And it's just like my uncle used to tell me that. My uncle was the most important figure in my life. He was my world. And I don't talk about it often, but in 2008, I lost him to suicide.
Oh no, I'm so
And
sorry.
it was a wild, wild time in my life. I had just done Hairspray. I just performed with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on a float. That was like, Tori, that was my dream
Creme
growing
de
up.
la creme.
Yes. I was like, I want to perform at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Being a New Yorker, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
That is the fucking coolest thing.
Anyway, here I am. I'm like 18. I'm like, yes, finally getting to do it. We're on a Hairspray float. It was the most magical experience. Like 60 blocks, just them playing the Hairspray music. And I'm like looking out. I see like people I went to high school with like signs up. I'm like, oh my God, this is kids I used to babysit.
I'm getting
Like,
chills.
we're out there with signs. I was like, oh my God, it was the greatest experience. And the next day, I got home that night. I saw my uncle really quickly, and then because he lived with us, and then the next morning, he came down and he came to check on me, and later that day, he went and he shot himself.
Oh my God.
And I've literally never like talked about it in detail with anybody, but I adore you and trust you, and
I adore you.
so while I was having this crazy high experience of Hairspray, and where everybody thinks my life is like glitter and rainbows, I just lost the most important person in the world to me. But I
Wasn't
wasn't
he
allowed to
he
talk about it.
he was like the reason why you got into showbiz too or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Something
he wanted to be an actor. And that's also why I'm really giving LA a go. As much as it pains me sometimes, and I miss the East Coast so much, he lived out here for a few years on his own because he wanted to be an actor. And I feel like by me being out here, I feel like I'm a little bit closer to him
Closer to him.
because this was also his dream. I scattered his ashes out here
Aw.
because that was, he always used to say to me, kid, make me a promise. And that's actually why I got the word kid tattooed on my arm.
Oh, I got chill. You give me goosebumps right now.
I got that for my birthday this year because that's what he always used to call me, kid. And he would always say, promise me you'll take me back to California. And I did. When he passed, I took half of his ashes and I brought them out here. And I told my brother, I said, even though I miss you guys, I feel so much closer to him out here. So I know I'm not alone,
Oh,
and when you are doing, like, as I'm doing this career for myself, and it's what makes me happy, he was my world. So I want to make him proud. And I'm also doing this for him. So when you're carrying somebody else's like legacy, it makes it that much more important to me.
yeah, meaningful. That's really meaningful. And that uh, he's probably like guiding you through it, like, you know, like out there on the other side, like, no, don't talk to that person. That person's a dick fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely, definitely. He's definitely steered me in the right direction several times, even since I've been out here. But even just like, when I'm missing my family and I'm feeling all alone out here in this big city, because LA, we think New York is massive. New York is huge. But Long Island, like you said, it's its own little bubble, and we all
Mhm.
know our own little, like, our favorite haunts that we go to for coffee in the morning and or whatever. Out here, it's like everything is so spread out. Like, you really need
Vast.
a car. Yeah, you know, but I'm just like, even though while I have friends out here, it's a weird time to also, like, can't really go anywhere. So
Yeah,
it's like I definitely feel like he's on my side while I'm out here trying this new journey.
he is. Oh my God. I got to tell you this side note. I don't know if you're into like spirituality and shit.
I am.
I am too, and I've always been, but like just recently I started really like honing in on it, and I got into tarot cards and like meditation. If you ever want me to read your fucking cards, yeah, I'll do it.
Yes, I would love that.
I love it. It's so fucking great. And like sometimes people from like I read this woman the other day. Like I read my fans, like I do Zoom calls with them and just like my patrons, and I'll read them. And her nephew that passed like came through, and that never happened before. And she was like, "That's my nephew," and I was like, "Get the fuck!" And he actually passed away from suicide as well, actually. But so like maybe we can like talk to your uncle.
I would love to hear what he has to say. He was such a great person, and he's the last person in the world you would think would commit suicide. And that's why I always tell people, check up on your friends, check up on your family, check in with them, because even though you think you know what's going on, you don't.
Nope.
You know, we lived a floor apart. He lived in the attic, I lived on the second floor. Like, we were as thick as thieves. um but I don't torture myself with doing the, if I would have talked to him, or no, I talk to him every day. This was going to happen, and it happened. But now I know that everything I do with him in mind, and that's why I continue to lead the life that I lead, like just doing things to try and make him proud. I'm like, everything I would do, I'm like, would he be proud of this project? Would he be proud of me doing this right now? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was very much, he always just tell me, kid, go have fun, live
Oh,
life. And so that's very much what I take with me out here. And, it's like, I live a very normal life, simple life. It's just, like we said, it's the simple little things that are important, and the real ones, and the good friendships that we make along the way. And I'm just so thankful that I got to meet you, and we got
I
to,
know.
and isn't
I'm
it so funny how we're both from the island, but we never met in person?
I know it's fucking sick. It's fucking ridiculous. I hate it because we live so close. Well, used to live so close to fucking one another, and we're from the same goddamn neighborhood, and we met on TikTok, like through somebody from Australia.
That's my mom said to me today. She goes, I was like, Mom, I'm getting ready to go do my podcast. She goes, who are you talking to? I said, I'm talking to my friend Tori Franco. She's like, oh, I've heard you talk about Tori before. She's like, but I've never met Tori. I said, no, Mom, I've never met Tori either. And she was like, well, how'd you meet? And I was like, TikTok. And she's like, how? And I was like, through my friend Nicole, who lives in Australia. And she was like, wait, you met somebody from Long Island through, I was like, from somebody from Australia.
Right.
Oh, shout
Like,
out to Nicole Ferreira for connecting us, because
hell yeah.
you brought in just so many smiles and so much joy into my heart, and I
Oh,
can't
thank
thank
you.
you.
And so have you. Seriously, I fucking love you. I love you. I just love you. I tell you all the time. I fucking love you.
I love you. I love you so much, and I really do. Like, I'm just so excited for you, because I see so much potential in you. Like, I
Oh,
see
thank
the
you.
people out here in this business that are trying to do their little shows and whatever, whatever. And I'm like, okay, you keep doing it. Okay. But I like, when I see you and I listen to your podcast, I'm like, this is somebody who needs a talk show. This is somebody
Uh-uh.
who's talking about the real. No, I'm being serious. I'm like, this is the person who deserves all of that. The
Thank
talk show, the accolades, everything, because you're real with people, and you're human, and you're kind to people, and you share so openly. This is what the world needs.
thank
The
you.
world needs more Franco in their lives. And I'm not talking about James and Dave.
I'm feeling a little animosity towards James and Dave. I don't know.
No, no, no. I'm sure they're fine fellas. I never met them, the James
Oh,
and Dave Franco guys, but I'm just a Tori Franco fan. So
thank you.
who needs James and Dave when you got Tori?
That's what I want to do though. Like that's like my vision. Even if like only two people fucking listen, you know what I mean? Like I just want to be real, inspiring, spread a positive message, but like not a fucking woo woo, everything's rainbows and butterflies, because that's not reality. Like I just sometimes I'm just word diarrhea, you know what I mean?
Do you find it hard sometimes, like when you're following this creative path,
Mm.
right? And maybe your friends or your family are doing more of like a, like we're both from Long Island, so like the 9 to 5, regular job type thing. Do you find that difficult sometimes to have to explain like why you do what you do? I know I do.
Yeah, and I feel like most people don't get it, and so like when you say like, well, I do TikTok and my podcast, and I have my hand in all of these things, and that's basically how I make my money.
Yeah.
They kind of look at you and they're like, so you're unemployed? And you're like, it's something that when people ask me, oh, what do you do for a living, if I first meet somebody, that I actually like actively get embarrassed to talk about it, because I know people don't get it, because society tells us we have to go to college, get a 9 to 5, hate our job for the 30 years that we do it. You know what I mean? This is an unconventional thing.
Yeah.
So my dad's like, so you're a professional lesbian? And I'm like, sure, if that's what you want to say that I am, then by all means.
Well, I mean, you're a professional, amazing human being. Is what you are. I mean,
Thank you.
and I'm sure you're pretty damn good at being a lesbian.
I try,
I try too. But
gotta live up to it.
no, the thing is that, some people just don't get it.
No.
And
And that's okay.
that's okay. Yeah, that's what I've had to learn is like people I've gotten a lot of you haven't worked much since Hairspray or what have you done or blah. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to sit here. If you're really curious, you can IMDb me, like, you know what I mean? If you really want to get to the nuts and bolts of it. And I'm not trying to sound cocky. I'm just saying, like, most of the conversation, the reason you're asking me this question is to try and make me feel a little shitty. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm like, it's interesting how you have to explain yourself to people even today. I'm like, there are people that literally just like have pages that just like eat on their pages and just like and make millions of dollars a year. How do you
Right.
but I'm not asking you why. I'm just saying good, go for it. Like whatever does it for you. But
I follow half of those pages. I fucking
yeah,
love
me
them.
I'm the same way. It's like, live and let live is what I learned
Right.
very long ago. Live and let live and just do your passions and, every
Yeah.
day just try and leave the world in a little bit of a better place than you found it.
That's it. That's my goal in life. Just leaving the world, somebody, people, whoever, in a better place than I found them. And if I did that or I do that, that's success to me.
Well, I can tell you you've done it with me because
Thank you.
from the time that we started talking and met, so weird.
I know.
You've inspired me more than you know.
Oh, thank you.
Really
And
have. And I'm
you
not BSing you. Like you really have. And not just in every way possible. Just like somebody out there pursuing their dreams, just doing the damn thing from Long Island, you know,
hell
just
yeah.
being like, yeah, this is our island. We're gonna take charge of it.
That's right. That's right. My fucking
And
island.
yeah, really my best friend. My best friend.
They never get it. I had to tell my mother, I'm like, Mom, don't bother me. I'm doing a podcast. She's, all right, okay.
Well, please tell Debbie I say hi. I follow her
Oh,
on the TikTok as
you
well.
do? She
Of
probably does.
course.
I gotta tell her. She'll literally, she'll also shit her pants.
Your mom is a badass, and that is a
Thank
good
you.
thing. I hope it's not disrespectful, but your mom
No.
is a badass. Like, I watch her workout videos. I'm like, yes, you get it, Mama Franco. I'm like, you inspire me to get up off my lazy behind and do some workouts. I'm like, oh my gosh. So please give her my love. Your
I will.
sister, her wife, the kids. You're an amazing family,
Thank
and you
you.
make Long Island proud.
Thank you. I'm trying. I love you.
I love you. Where can we keep in touch with you? Like, tell us all of your platforms, your podcasts, everything.
I'm on Instagram, Tori Franco, ToriFranco. TikTok is Tori Franco 0. And my podcast is The Tori Franco Show. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, all that shit.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love you.
I
And
love you.
I absolutely adore the ground you walk on. And I'm just so thankful you work on that you work on.
Work it.
Work it. No, I adore the ground you walk on. And I really appreciate everything you've done just for the TikTok community, but also for me. Because like I said, you've inspired me. And coming out was scary. And you were one of the first people that I like found, like when, TikTok got my algorithm and realized that I was gay. Um, and I was like, oh, and like then I started seeing your videos and I was like, she is so light and bright and just inspirational. And so I just thank you because you actually helped that scary moment in my life just a little bit easier because you were so proud of who you were. So I thank
Aw.
you.
I love you. If you were in front of me, I would hug you right now.
Oh, well, I'm air hugging you and I
Air
love
hug.
you.
I love you. I'll text you after this because,
Okay. Because
and
that's what we do.
that's what we do.
I'll talk to you later.
I love you.
I love you. Bye.
Mwah. Bye.
She is the best. Tori, I will tell you, is you guys, when I said that she made my coming out process a little bit smoother and easier on me just by seeing how out and proud she was, like it's gonna bring a tear to my eye. Tori's a beautiful soul, and she genuinely cares about people, and I genuinely care about people. And as you've heard from today's conversation, we've both been bullied, we've both been put through the ringer, but we choose every day to get up and find the positivity in every day and to try and make somebody smile. If we make one person smile a day, then I feel like I've done my job. And I know that Tori probably feels the same. Tori Franco, I love the absolute heck out of you. I couldn't adore you more. And I'm so glad that we share an island, Long Island, and I'm so glad that we share so many common interests. But I'm so glad that we share this friendship because you have made such an impact on my life, and I love you, kid. So until next week, friends, I'll see ya. But Tori, you're the best. I love you, and I love you all. Have an amazing week, everyone. Bye.